Charlie's Angels is a soft reboot of the Charlie's Angels franchise, directed by Elizabeth Banks. This isn't a full-on reboot, as there are some fun nods and references to the old films with Cameron Diaz, and even the old 70s TV show. Charlie's Angels 2019 very much acts as a continuation from those films, like how Men in Black International and Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle connected to their originals, so don't fret if you're a hardcore Charlie's Angels fan. This new Charlie's Angels stars Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, and Ella Balinska as the next generation of angels. Elizabeth Banks is the new Bosley. This movie opens up the idea that there are multiple Bosleys around the world, training angels in different countries. So you also have Patrick Stewart as John Bosley, taking over from Bill Murray in the old films, in addition to Jaimon Honsu as another Bosley, and many other surprise actors who pop up as other Bosleys. The plot follows these new angels coming together, trying to stop an experimental renewable energy source from being misused as a weapon, because this energy source can now be reworked into an EMP that kills people. It's not the most original plot in the world. Over the last decade, there have been plenty of movies that feature large tech companies as the villains, creating some network or power source that has the potential to disrupt the world. Charlie's Angels uses that familiar plot as a gateway to introducing new audiences to these new angels, with focus on the character dynamic and cast chemistry. And while the movie is fairly cartoonish and doesn't take itself too seriously, it is considerably less campy than the Cameron Diaz movies, with more attention on relatively more grounded and realistic action scenes. Charlie's Angels is a movie that means well. The cast obviously get along quite well and share a fun vibe on screen, seeming completely at ease with each other, especially when they're on screen with Elizabeth Banks. Naomi Scott and Ella Balinska are the real standouts of the film, with Naomi Scott being the tech person of the group, Ella as the action-focused Jane, and a slight nod to the whole online debate about trying to have a female James Bond, with the name that's commonly used being Jane Bond, while Kristen Stewart gets left with being comic relief. Those archetypes are really all the development that we get with these new angels, aside from Jane having a connection to Jaimon Honsu. Now, I've enjoyed Kristen Stewart's more dramatic roles. She's done a lot to build up her profile in that regard, and in Charlie's Angels she does have a few humorous lines. However, a lot of the times the jokes just fall pretty flat. In fact, most of the humor in the movie is pretty hit or miss. I went to a big screening with a good mix of women and men, and a few times the movie would just try a joke, but the audience would remain pretty quiet. Don't get me wrong, there are some jokes that land, but a lot of them miss the mark. There's way more dark, morbid humor in this movie than I was expecting as well, with a lot of jokes that are made after someone dies. It's pretty nuts. A lot of this comes down to the script and editing. The story isn't anything new and tries to make up for its shortcomings by cramming in way too many short scenes with detours to other countries and fairly pedestrian action scenes. The movie tends to jump around without really properly establishing what's going on or taking a moment to breathe, leading to a lot of uneven and messy editing, where a lot of the movie winds up feeling like a blur as it tries to race us off to the next action scene. Now, I enjoy Elizabeth Banks. As an actor, she's awesome. I know a lot of people really enjoy her work, but as a director, we've yet to really see her come into her own. A lot of people were disappointed by Pitch Perfect 2, and Charlie's Angels, while an improvement over that film, isn't the major leap that many of us were hoping it would be for us to really be convinced that Elizabeth Banks is the next great director. Personally, I would have liked to have seen her do a smaller movie first before jumping into another big movie like this. With some more experience, particularly with post-production, I think that would have gone a long way in getting the editing and pacing just right, as there is just too many short scenes in the film that other directors would have cut to help the flow of the film. Instead, Charlie's Angels plays more like a rough cut, where all the scenes have been included, but people were worried about what to cut out. Charlie's Angels definitely would have benefited from having a David Leitch or Chad Stahelski as second unit director for the action scenes, just to punch up the choreography and coverage. I'm sure many people will be able to overlook the flaws of Charlie's Angels and enjoy the movie for what it is, even with all the silliness. I definitely enjoyed the nods to the old movies and TV show, but for me personally, I think Charlie's Angels needed more time in development to really figure out the story and characters before jumping into production, as it's trying to do way more than it can handle. Elizabeth Banks is definitely improving as a director, but it would be really good to see her do something smaller scale as a director, just to cut her teeth a bit more on the filmmaking process. Unless you have a strong desire to see Charlie's Angels, I would strongly recommend just waiting for it to be on Netflix. Charlie's Angels gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Guys, I hope you like this review. If you want to see more reviews just like this one, stay right here for your mono fix. Bye guys.